morning, everybody. British literature is replete with many bards, and they have created beautiful poems. So we are going to see one such poet, a renowned poet, John Milton, who belonged to the Puritan age. Milton has to his credit the great epic Paradise Lost that has quite a wonderful background of Greek and Roman mythology and has earned him fame all around the world. But when he wrote that epic Paradise Lost, he was blind. Yes, he lost his eyesight and he had all the ideas in his mind, but he was not able to execute it, and he faced a great dejection. Here we can see Milton sitting with his daughters. He has become totally blind and he tries to dictate the whole epic, and his daughter did all the writing work. Just before he began this project, he was in great depression, and then came a wonderful sonnet, a beautiful sonnet, quite an autobiographical one, which tells his total mindset. As Wordsworth says, poetry is a spontaneous overflow of powerful emotions. So here we have such an overflow of emotions by John Milton after he became blind. And he was a highly religious poet. He had lots of ideas to convey and praise the Lord, but since he became blind, he could not convey anything through his poems. So in that mindset, Milton creates this beautiful poem on his blindness. This poem was written in 1964 after he became completely blind, and it tells about his own loss of sight and his complaints towards God. And the poem follows Petrarchan sonnets method of presenting. Sonnets are of many types. We have Shakespearean sonnet, we have Petrarchan sonnet, and Petrarchan sonnet has two divisions. It has an octave and a sestet. A sonnet contains 14 lines. The octave deals with the first 8 lines and the sestet deals with the last 6 lines. And this is the shape of this poem. And Milton follows the rhyme scheme ABBA for the first 4 lines and the second set of 4 lines also. And the last 6 lines follow the rhyme scheme of CDE and CDE. So this is the shape of his poem. Now let us have a look at the poem itself. So it is the 19th sonnet written by John Milton on his blindness. So Milton speaks about his worries. I'll read the poem. When I consider how my light is spent, half my days in this dark world and wide, and that one talent which is death to hide, lodged with me, useless. Though my soul more bent to serve therewith my Maker, and present my true account, lest he returning chide. Doth God exact day labour, light denied? I fondly ask. But patience, to prevent that murmur, soon replies. God doth not need either man's work or his own gifts. Who best bears mild yoke, they serve him best. His state is kingly. Thousands at his bidding speed and post over land and ocean without rest. They also serve, who only stand and wait. So this is the sonnet. Now let us see how Milton has beautified his thoughts in the form of this sonnet. It is highly autobiographical and personal in the narration. We'll start with the first line. There is a mention of the word light, and here we know he is blind, and he refers to his eyesight. When I consider how my light is spent, that is how I have lost my eyesight, how I have given away my vision. Half my days, that is before half of my lifespan. Generally a human being is supposed to have a 100-year lifespan. So here it is approximately 50. So it is before 50, that is he was 44 to 48 when he became totally blind. So before half of my age I became blind. And when I consider that, in this dark world and wide, in this world which is wide but it is dark for me, I am not able to see this world because it is blind for me even before I reached my 50th year. And in this situation, I have one talent. We have to take note of this word talent because it contains a biblical reference. In Bible, we have a master and his 3 servants. And in those days, talent is a word representing both money and skill. And in the biblical days, here it is referring to the money. So there was a master, as the story goes, who gave talents to his servants, that is money to his servants. He asked them to invest them in the best possible way, and he left. And after the master returns, he asks his servants how they have used it. And 2 of his servants seem to have used it perfectly. And there is a 3rd servant who has buried the money, the talent, safely inside, and he showed it to his master. Naturally, the master got angry because it was useless. That was not a good way of making use of this talent. This story from the Bible is taken, it is taken as an allusion, taken as an allegory, and used here by Milton. So the talent is a pun actually. One, it refers to the biblical story used for the servant. Another is the real skill, the talent of creating poetry, the talent given to Milton. So Milton is the servant here, God is the master here. The talent referred to is not money here, but the skill of writing poems. But he is not able to write poem here because he is blind. So just like that servant, just like that silly servant, Milton has also lodged his talent within himself. That is, he has hidden his talent within himself. He cannot express his talent of writing poems. And so what will happen? He is hiding his talent, which is death to hide. It is almost equivalent to death because it is in darkness. Death is here parallel to darkness. So the talent is hiding inside him, which is very wrong on his part. And then it is lodged within me, useless. But what about his mindset? Though my soul more bent to serve therewith my Maker. My Maker, that is my Creator, my Lord. So I want to serve Him, my soul wholeheartedly. I want to do something for my God. So that is my mindset. So I want to do service to God, I want to sing in praise of God, but still the talent is hidden inside me, useless, because I have become blind, I have lost my vision. So how can I write poetry? And then the story is not over yet. So what about the master? He returns and asks the servant, what happened to your talent? And then the servant is showing the hidden coin. So similarly, God, here master is God, the Maker, will have to ask for Milton's use of his skill. So, and present my true account, lest he returning child. Lest means otherwise, he, that is God, returning child, that is scold me. God might scold me because when he asks me at the end of my life's journey to present my account. So probably it's the last judgment day. So after my life is over, I will be questioned by God. He will ask me, what did you do with your talent? How did you make use of your skill? I gave you a beautiful skill of writing poems. And then Milton will have no answer because his talent hides useless within him. So this is his trouble. This is his complaint. So now Milton becomes very frustrated. I told you he is deeply depressed, and he puts a question. A question, it could be to himself or to the world or to God himself. He says that God exact day labor, light denied. That is, God denied me light, here my vision, and he is exacting, he is trying to extract day labor. It is the work which can be done only with light, here with vision. So I have to use my eyesight to write my poems, but God has denied me of my vision, so how can I create poems? So how can I justify myself at the end of my lifespan? So this is his dilemma. I was earlier telling you about octave and sestet, the poem of 14 lines being divided into 8 plus 6. So the first 8 lines, octave, till I fondly ask, till that line we have the 8 lines, the octave. This has a problem, and the other 6 lines usually convey a solution. Usually Petrarchan sonnet contains the octave and the sestet, the octave posing a problem, the sestet giving the solution. Here also Milton follows the same pattern. So the first 8 lines convey us the problem faced by Milton, though it is not of his accord. He has not created it, but he has been victimized by the laws of sight. So I fondly ask. Here we should not take the meaning of fondly as affectionately. It is the old English meaning, that is foolishly. So I foolishly ask. He knows that it is not proper to question the ways of God. Still, in my ignorance, out of my silly attitude, I am asking such a question. Okay, I foolishly ask, will God expect me to create poems though I have lost my vision? And here comes solution. This solution is given from within himself, but Milton is beautifully using personification. Can you see the word the word patience uses a capital P there? So that is a personification. Patience is personified as a human being. It's a quality or a virtue which gains human elements. So it is as if patience comes out and tries to console him, a great virtue which is there to help him on that spot. So patience, to prevent that murmur. What is that murmur? The complaint given by Milton towards God or towards himself or to the world. So this is the murmur referred to here. This murmur is put to an end by patience. Patience soon replies, God doth not need either man's work or his own gifts. So it's a very revealing line. It says, okay, what do you think of yourself? You think that God is waiting for your small poem or whatever you are going to give? No, he is someone above all this, someone beyond all this. He does not need your work. He is not such a cheap master to wait, extract work from you and be happy. He doesn't need he doesn't want his people to do work for him or his own gifts. Okay, this gift of poetry is given to you by God. He won't like to have it back, or he won't find fault with you for not composing poems. Okay, he is much above all these. So he won't need either work from his men or gifts from his people. Who best bear his mild yoke, they serve him best. It's a very nice idea given to all of us, quite relevant even in the present ages. He says there is a way to serve God. Of course, you don't bother about writing poems, don't bother about losing your sight, but you have been given something, that is a mild yoke. A yoke is the heavy log which is held on a bullock. It is a metaphor from agriculture. Okay, so a bullock has to carry the plough and it is yoked. So this is yoke here refers to a burden given to you by God, but it is not a very heavy burden. It is supposed to be a mild burden. So this burden here could refer to any problem, any trial or tribulation faced by humanity in general. So any grief or any problem that you are undergoing is the yoke given to you by God. So what is your role here? You have to bear that yoke. Have that yoke with a good spirit. So that attitude is what God wants from you, not your poems or your complaints or the gifts which He expects back. So it is just your way of taking the yoke He gives you. So those who bear His mild yoke, they serve Him best. That's the best way to serve God. And then what about God's condition? What is he doing there? Is he sitting and watching Milton alone, whether he is composing poems or complaining? No, he is actually much busy. His state is kingly. He is a royal person, okay, one in charge of not a small earthly border, but in charge of the whole universe. Okay, all the whole cosmos is under God. So he is a kingly personality. Thousands at his bidding speed and post over land and ocean without rest. That is, he has thousands of angels to follow him, thousands of fairies to do whatever he bids them, to follow his command, at his bidding, at his command. They speed and post, that is, they run around, they fly around to serve God and do whatever he commands over land and ocean without rest. So they do not pause, they do not even wait to take rest, but they keep going and they execute God's commands. That much is the power of God. And the last line says, okay, so now we have to give an answer to Milton. He says, okay, he has so many people to take care of him. What about me? I want to serve God, but I am denied. So what is the solution I am getting? So here the last line tells everything. They also serve who only stand and wait. Okay, you need not actually be performing what is expected out of you. It is okay if you have inclination. It is okay if you have willingness. Your turn will automatically come. God will know when to make use of you, and then you be ready. Your readiness is most needed. So that attitude, that receptivity and that understanding with a lot of patience is what is recommended to carry out our job in this world. So that is the theme of the poem. Now let us have a look at the poetic devices used by Milton, and please let us make a note that Milton did all this after he became blind. Milton follows the meter of iambs. So the rhyme, each line follows iambic pentameter. Here is an example I have given. Iambic pentameter contains 5 meters. Penta means 5, and there are 5 iambs. So each contains one unstressed and one stressed syllable. So here the words in italics and bold are the stressed ones, and those which are lighter are the unstressed one. So let me read a sample of how it has to be read actually. That God exact, delayed, or light denied. So that is the way we have to pronounce an iambic pentameter, giving stress and leaving those which are unstressed. So it is alternating, you can see for yourself. So this is the way iambic pentameter is written. And he uses the metaphor of lack of his vision to the world of light. Okay, the world becomes dark, which is metaphorically implying his own internal blindness. And we have the allusion. I told you about the story of the 3 servants and the master. It can be found in the Gospel of Matthew. And we also have patience personified. So this is also a literary device of Milton's own personality coming out and giving him advice, more or less like a conscience coming out and speaking. And we have an oxymoron here. It's an important device. Oxymoron is 2 words of extreme contrast, rather opposite, put held together, of course, for a definite purpose. We have the word yoke here, which is burden, and we also have it coupled with mild. So we don't say it a mild burden, but Milton has his own idea while coining this word. He says it is a burden given to man, but not a very heavy burden, because God is a gentle master. So he tests us with a mild yoke, and we have to prove our worth. Okay, I'll be winding up with this last line. It's a very oft quoted line of Milton. They also serve who only stand and wait. We can apply this to our present world. We can even think of the soldiers who stand at the border of our country. They need not be fighting always, but they are there for us. So they help us to go along. So let us take this attitude of Milton, the real problem of Milton and the real solution he gives himself, and follow his footsteps to become more enlightened, more matured, and more grateful towards God. Thank you.